What's crackin', and welcome to Disney Dreamlight Valley. I'm cozyceto, and I'm so happy you're here for episode 2 in Decoding Dreamsnaps. Today's installment is going to be the ultimate camera guide to help you master your tools and take another step up the ladder towards a 4K finish. I'm going to showcase all of the functions of the camera mode for beginners, as well as offer some of my favorite advanced tips and tricks for camera success in Dreamsnaps and beyond. As always, we will be showing you examples of the tricks that earned 4K and spilling the secrets on how you can create your own versions in your valley. Today's episode is going to have 4 sections, and the first is going to focus on the camera frames and filters. This is going to be a brief overview on each frame and filter, and we are going to talk about some you should never use and why. The second will be an overview of the basic poses and expressions available and ways to use them. Companion poses and advanced posing will be a part of their own video because there is just so much to cover. I would be grossly oversimplifying it to fit it all in this one video. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel so you don't miss it when it drops. The third section will be dedicated to exploring the camera's modes and angles, and will show you how to create tighter framing and unique perspectives. The final section will be the advanced section, and it will have some more nuanced tips and tricks that may seem confusing if you haven't practiced with the camera mode some and familiarized yourself with the basics. I highly suggest checking out all of the first 3 parts before heading there if you're newer to Dreamsnaps or Dreamlight Valley as a whole. Now that y'all know what's ahead, let's start with the basics and kick things off by jumping right into part 1. The frames and filters in Dreamlight Valley are currently pretty basic, with only 8 filters and 8 frames at our disposal, as well as the option to add the Dreamlight Valley logo to any of the 4 corners of our shots. There are definitely options here to work with, but some of them have proven time and time again to negatively impact results in the realm of Dreamsnaps voting, so I'm going to fill you in on the tea before you make a simple mistake that could cost you 4,000 moonstones. First up, we are going to head on over to this section and focus on the frames, even though they're the last section of the camera menu, just because they are the most basic ways to change the look of your photo, and we're going to be working our way backwards from there. Admittedly, most of these frames are pretty trash for Dreamsnaps, and a majority of the community will agree. I'm not saying these frames aren't super cute and don't have their place in taking sweet shots to share with friends. They definitely do. They're great for that. But some of these frames are just really distracting, and they can be eyesores when voting, and they are, voters are hunting for full frames of details and effort, especially with how competitive Dreamsnaps have become. Over 200,000 entries are being submitted each week on average, and that is a lot of competition to work through. So when you have the frames like this, it's super cute and it has a whimsical girly glow to it, but when you're looking for decor elements or trying to focus on a beautiful outfit, it can be really, really distracting and make it near impossible to truly appreciate the work that's going on behind all of it. I will also say that there are these last 2 filters at the bottom, the snowflake one and then this blue one, and both of those kind of have the same effect to them. I think that they also are distracting and they can really take away from your shot rather than adding to it. The rest of these aren't really adding too crazy much. We have these 2 white ones, just like a simple border. It is kind of like painted, so there are some like pixely elements here on the edges, as you can see. And then we have this wider one that kind of gives almost like a Polaroid effect. When you change the camera format, you can see that you really kind of get that photo effect on it. But I'm not really too much of a fan of it for like Dreamsnaps. I don't think that it adds enough to really validate using it. Then we also have this one that kind of has that like Dreamlight vibe to it, but I also don't think it really adds too much, and it can kind of be distracting just because it does have all these little touches on the edge, which are super cute, like I said, for if you're sharing just some photos with friends or maybe even framing up some valley shots. But as far as Dreamsnaps are concerned, they just really don't have a place. I also would like to point out all of these Dreamlight Valley logos. I think that they are a really nice way to just mark your shot without having to go hunting for, the little clip to add to your photo afterwards. But if you like sharing your photos on social media and you're, not sure if people are going to recognize the game immediately, they can also add a very nice touch. I generally do add these to my dream snaps, and I've seen first place finishes with and without them, so I think that they can definitely be added without worrying about anything being really taken away from your shot. They kind of keep to themselves in the corner no matter where you put them. Just go through all of them real quick. Yeah, nothing too crazy. Very simple. Very nice. They look very clean. I think it makes the shot look very professional, and that's personally why I choose to use them as often as I do. I almost forgot to mention these two black filters as well. This one does offer a really nice wide shot. I think it kind of gives a cinematic effect, and so that can definitely have a nice place in dream snaps if you want to give the illusion of a wider screen without having a actual wider screen like some players do, because you might see the extremely wide photos in voting, and that's because of the monitor size. There's no way to get that in your camera mode, unfortunately. So this is as close as you can get to kind of replicating that similar vibe if you have just like a standard screen size like I do or like most players do. Then moving on to filters, you're gonna catch me sounding really negative here for a moment, and I promise I mean no hate to the filters as a whole, but when we are specifically talking about dream snaps, I do have some pretty serious criticisms. I personally avoid almost all of these filters, honestly, except for this fourth one right here. This is like that clarity filter. Oh, let me turn off this. This clarity filter is the one that I often use. I do like it because it just brightens the shot and it makes the background clear rather than blurred with distance. You can't really see it because of where I'm standing right now, but I'm gonna go ahead and move, and then we'll keep talking about this here in a second. Okay, now we've moved a little bit, and so I think you're going to be able to see this effect a lot better now. As you can see right now, the background is blurred. Anna's castle back there, these stalls, you can kind of vaguely make them out, but they're not super visible. When we turn on the clarity filter, while it is extremely bright and kind of overpowered here in the Frosted Heights, in most other biomes it does just offer a nice lightening effect, but as you can also see, the background is no longer blurred, and every one of the details is crisp. You can see the gazebos now, you can see the stalls very clearly, you can also see Anna's castle and all of the detailing. It's just a very nice way to really showcase all of the details in your background. I did use this filter on my Automagic snap, and I know I've shown this one before, but it did earn rank 6 and 4,000 moonstones, so I think there is a lot to learn and unpack from any time such a high ranking is achieved, especially if you're like me and you're looking to replicate those results in the future. The filter allowed for Fairy Godmother's house to become more detailed, and it brightened the magical glow effect that I implemented back in the trees to achieve that just enchanted forest look. I am so in love with this snap, and this clarity filter really helped turn it up just an extra notch, and I think that's what really brought it to the top 10. The rest of these filters we can just go through. There's this black and white one. It is pretty extreme as well. We have this sepia one up next, and then this one that really changes the colors a lot. This is one of those ones that I say definitely hurts you more than it helps you, because as you can see, everything just looks like crap now. I'm just being so honest, like all of the details are being lost, and it's one of those things that you need to plan for way in advance when you're building your shot, and be very conscious of the colors that you're placing around you and how they're going to be affected by these filters. Especially when you look at some of these other ones, like here's another one that kind of has a similar effect. And then this one also kind of has that effect, but this one offers a little bit more of like a golden tint to it, I want to say. And so this does bring out a little bit more of those golden effects. You can see it on these pedestals, you can see it on the fountain, you can also see it on these lampposts. But generally, I would say to also avoid this one. And then here's another one, just a lot of brightness. They're definitely not the worst things that I've ever seen. However, you have to plan around them. And then this is just another version of the sepia. This is like the lighter one, and that's kind of like the darker one. But yeah, you know, these filters they're not terrible. They're really not, but they're definitely not the best. And I think that there is a lot of room for improvement. Hello, Rapunzel. Okay, that's rude. Well, good thing that pretty much wraps up what I've got for you here in this first part. The biggest takeaways are just avoid frames that distract from your photo and avoid filters that heavily skew the color palette of your shot unless you are well prepared. All right, moving on. We're gonna move. Rapunzel doesn't want us here. Okay. We are back in the plaza, and up next we are moving to the left in the camera mode menu and exploring both the poses and the expressions. These can be combined in any way, so there are a ton of options to choose from, even though the individual menus are still a bit limited. Honestly, I feel like Dreamlight Valley does have a lot of room to improve here. We have gotten quite a few of these new poses, including all of our tools. There's 2 new ones here, the glider poses, being able to use our accessories, things of that nature, that have really helped us, you know, elevate our shots and create more unique and detailed poses. I'm going to go through all of these one by one, but we are going to start over here in the expressions since they are the shorter list. There's currently 7 of these available in the game, and starting off with this top one, that is kind of just like a nervous smile. Like you're just kind of looking off to the side. It's kind of awkward. You know, I haven't seen this one used in many dream snaps, but I can definitely see how you can use this expression to tell a story. The next one is kind of this like cocky, smug grin. And then the third one is this mischievous kind of smirk. That one, I like the eyebrow raise, and I see a lot of potential for this one. I've used it quite a bit as well. The last one over here on the top row is this like super soft smile. I think that it gives a very princessy look to your character and it offers a bit of elegance. This is one of my favorite expressions for sure, and I use this one pretty often in my dream snap photos because it does incline your character to look forward at the camera, and that is always helpful. Next in the bottom row, we have this super smile. I like to call it the super cheese because of this part of the animation where you're just like super smiling. I don't know. I can't think of a better name for it, but if you have one, let me know in the comments below what your name for this one is. I do love using this to showcase items, especially when paired with a certain pose I will show you in just a moment. I think that it can create a really excited, like showcasey look, and it can definitely elevate your shot. The last expression, second to last expression is this wink right here, and it's super cute. It definitely has its place. I can see how it can create like a very cutesy, whimsical, playful look, and I like that part of it. Then this last one, now the actual last one, is this kind of angry expression. It does make your character look like they're yelling, and I think that there is a lot of potential to make this a very creative pose and expression. I used it in the Valley Rock Show contest for a rank of 6,729 and a nice little reward of 4,000 moonstones. I wanted my character to look like they were singing, and that wide mouth effect is so perfect for it. I think that this expression has a ton of potential in any kind of like passionate, aggressive, I don't know, just like really anything. All of these expressions are honestly really nice to be able to tell stories. My only criticism is that there's not more of them. I just want more. I want more expressions. I want more emotions. I want to be able to tell more stories with my dream snaps. Moving on to the last section of this part, we are going to look at some of the poses available to us in the camera mode. I won't be going over the accessory or companion poses since there will be a detailed posing guide coming down the line, and it would end up taking up most of this video. Other than those poses still, we have a ton to look at, so we're going to go through the list from top to bottom. Starting off is this hip stance, which can be perfect for a stylish or chic snap where you want to convey confidence or a little bit of sass. It does come with this oh god, I forgot to change it. It does come with this super cool RBF. Standardly, unless you change the expression, you can combine it with any of these other ones. And, I really, really like this one. I think that it looks really cool, and I like how your character moves with you in this one. It can offer some really cool, unique angles. Moving on, we have what I have dubbed the model pose because it really reminds me of a model just standing at the end of a runway, showcasing their outfit. I really, really like this one, and I did use it in the Dreamlight Diamond Showcase theme for a 4K finish and rank 549. I think it added a really high-class look to my character, and that's what I wanted to go for this week, so I think it has tons of potential to help elevate your shot in that way and beyond. Moving right along, we have this warrior stance, I guess. I don't know. I think it can be coupled with some of the other expressions for some more dynamic versions of it. Like, you look very angry as is, but when you couple it with the super cheese, it kind of looks like you're showing off stuff. So there's definitely a lot of potential there, and I'll detail more of that in the posing guide to come. Moving on, we have this nice little 2 arms, 2 hands on your hip pose. I kind of call this one the superhero stance, just because you look like a superhero posing. Like, I could totally see a cape coming off my character and everything. It feels very fitting. There is a really cute moment where the character looks forward and smiles. This is the same pose that I did use in the Harvest Celebration snap previously shown, and I really love this one. I think it adds a really dynamic touch, and as you can see from the base, you do step forward, so it brings you even closer to the camera and can help showcase your look even more. This next one is kind of like a cheering pose, and I think that it's really cute and ends with that little hop. I love it, and I think it can be the perfect illusion for interacting with NPCs because, give it just a moment, your character is going to look from side to side right after one of those hops. There we go. And it can be great for making you look like you're having a conversation with another character. I think that it is perfect for creating additional storytelling elements in your snaps, and they do a really good job at conveying more intention since they offer more animation, both this one and the one right before it. I did use this one in the Back to New Orleans snap that earned a rank of 57 and 4,000 moonstones. And in this one, I did use that little character interaction illusion to make my character look like I was looking over at Tiana. The next poses are going to be super niche because they are going to showcase all of the different tools. We have the watering can, the fishing rod, you've got your shovel, the pickaxe. Then for owners of the Rift in Time DLC, you have your hourglass. And for owners of the Storybook Veil, you have the royal net. Then we're skipping over the accessories and heading straight to the gliders. This one is a awesome pose because it actually has 2 different versions, and this is just the first one. It kind of gives you that surfing element. And if you want to really jump on the surfing theme, there is a surfboard in the premium shop through the Island Getaway bundle. That is the one that has Stitch in it, and it is going to cost you 4,000 moonstones. So once you achieve some Dreamsnap success, you could totally go back and get it and, make the surfing snap of your dreams. I don't know. The second version of the glider pose is going to require a pair of wings. There are a ton of awesome wings available in the game. Some are in the premium shop. There are some available for free, including, let me scroll down here. These thorny wings are free ones, as well as these sparkly wings. So you can still totally get this pose even if you are a free-to-play player with just the base game. And And to get the special second glider pose, we're going to want to do more than just equipping these in the back section, as you can see up here. We're going to want to back out and go down here to the gliders. Once you go into the glider part, as you can see, it is still registering me as being on the other glider, so I'm going to want to scroll down and make sure that the correct wings are selected, so that way we get this nice, cute float. I'm not going to actually go back into the camera mode because this is the same float that is available in the camera mode. This is exactly how your character is going to look. You're going to have this like looking down effect. You can couple it with the other expressions that are available. So if you want to have a very angry looking fairy or a super cheese fairy, you can make both of those things possible. These are amazing, and I really love this pose. I think that it is super cool. And if you're lucky enough and you have grabbed these small pink wings, there are definitely some angles you can work with. Actually, I will pop back over into the camera mode just to show you this. Sorry for all the clicking. We're gonna go down here. And as you can see, let's see if we can get the timing just right. You can basically hide those wings behind you and create a really awesome levitation effect that is perfect for futuristic snaps or things of that nature. So you could totally utilize this to elevate your snaps just a hair further if you have access to these tiny, cute little pink wings. Definitely one of my favorite premium shop purchases. I think there is a ton of potential with these, and even though I wouldn't say they're my favorite wings in the game, they're definitely one of my favorite items that allow me to elevate my dream snaps. The next section is going to be focused on the different camera modes and formats. These can be changed by pressing the buttons next to the option in the lower left corner. Right here you can see that I'm currently on mouse and keyboard, and for me the options are going to be T and V. These tools can be used to change both the size of your shot and the angle of your camera, and are extremely useful functions to be aware of even if you're not consistently using very many of them. Changing the format simply changes the size of your photo, and I personally don't find it to be too helpful since most voters are looking for a full wide shot. I recommend keeping your photo on the widest option available to you and really challenging yourself to use the space rather than just eliminating it from the photo entirely. This is also helpful to know if you're like I was and accidentally changed it a lot and would fully exit the camera mode to reset it since you had no idea what you'd done. I'm not pointing fingers, but if I was, they would be pointed directly back at myself. The other part of this is going to be the camera modes. That is the option right here. And currently we have 3 camera modes available in Dreamlight Valley. This is just going to be a pretty basic overview of each one of the modes with more nuanced ways to use them available in the last part of the video. If you are a more experienced player, feel free to go ahead and skip this section because it may seem pretty redundant to you. The first camera mode, however, is the one that you immediately enter when activating the camera, and that is this awful selfie mode. I say awful because it is probably the worst mistake I see consistently in dream snaps week after week. Selfie poses and angles are almost always horrible for dream snaps, and numerous people have gone viral over my time playing, just being outspoken about not enjoying selfie submissions nor giving them any votes. While I have a ton of cute selfies saved from different valley visits or welcoming new additions to my valley, they do not have much of a place in the high levels of competition that ultimately will earn the highest moonstone rewards. There are these 3 just very basic selfie poses over here. We've got a point, a little display, and I guess some sort of like claw effect. I have never used these in a dream snap, and I've never seen a 4K selfie submission in all of the challenges I've completed. So if you know where to find one, feel free to tag me. Otherwise, I am going to stray away from the selfie modes for now. Moving right along to the next camera mode is what I like to call the favorite middle child, because that is the sweet spot for most dream snaps if Merida would get out of my way. Good lord. This next camera mode is what I like to call the favorite middle child because it is truly the sweet spot for most dream snaps. This will keep your characters nice and centered and allow you to really frame your shot with your character as the focal point. I highly suggest this mode for almost all challenges, unless you have a super creative idea for the last mode, which we will cover in just a moment. Continuing on with the second mode, however, you can do like a full 360 here, and it'll keep the camera nice and locked right in the middle on your character. And that is awesome. That allows you the ability to stage perfectly symmetrical builds with much less effort than toying with the final mode, and this also helps create balance across your entire photo, which ultimately is pleasing to our eyes as human beings, and so that is scientifically backed, showing you that voters are going to look at your photo, and so then it is just up to you to create something that is worth getting their vote. Moving on to the third mode, I will admit that I have only used this in a dream snap once because I mostly do not like it. That is a hot take, and I know it's not a bad mode, but I personally just really don't like it. It can create some awesome zoom effects, but I often build very vertical sets in dream snaps that showcase something in the sky, and this camera mode angles downward, which can fully negate the effort I put into my skylines. Let's take a look at it. Pressing this V button again to change the camera mode, it does automatically put it behind you, but you can go ahead and use your mouse or your joystick to just free move your camera around. There should also be a way for you to zoom in and out, and you should be able to kind of just like drag this around. You could literally be like pretty darn good framing there. Like you could definitely make some amazing shots out of this. I used it in my stitchable fashion challenge submission, and this was my highest scoring one for a while. It did earn me 4,000 moonstones. And then also, I do want to take a moment to showcase this awesome snap from our creative community manager here in the cavern, Simon, who was able to get this badass angle on Flynn and recreate the scene in Tangled, where he is just coming upon Rapunzel's tower. As of right now, this is their entry into the Lost Forest Challenge, and I am obsessed with their creativity. I think the shot is a perfect example of how the mode can be used to create something awesome, especially if you have the vision for it. I've only used this the one time. It was a top 100 finish, but other than that, I haven't found another time where it's felt appropriate or necessary, or where I've wanted to cut out that much of my skyline. The last part of the Ultimate Camera Guide is going to focus on a few ways to get my favorite advanced trick for camera success. It's on your screen right now, and we are going to talk about getting tighter framing by zooming in without losing your angles or your center. The first method to do this is the one I'm using right this moment, and that is the environmental object method. And doing that is just going to require you to use environmental objects in the valley. I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around so you can see. But all that's causing this is this rock right here, and it's just causing the camera to come closer to my character and forcing that tighter angle. If you get kind of like a blurry effect, you can always utilize this fourth filter, the clarity one, to really just add more detail to your shot, even with the zoomed in approach. The key to achieving success here is a lot of tweaking and fine movements of your character to get that perfect angle. If your character starts to get a bit blurry, don't forget to use that effect. And the biggest thing with this is that once you learn it, it is like riding a bike. You will be able to look around the valley and find all kinds of different spots where you can zoom in and create unique angles using this trick. The second part of this is using movable objects to get the same effect. This will allow you to create a similar function without being tied to specific locations in the valley. To do this, you can use any non-removable items such as goofy stalls, NPC houses, Scrooges, etc., things like that. You can use any of the stalls, including Tiana's, Kristoff's, any of the restaurants, anything like that. You get what I'm saying. You can also go into the furniture mode, however, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom to this rock section and you click on it, any of these large rocks, ooh, there's one, and there we go. So any of these large rocks, if I place this, and then let me back out of here, I can use this to get the same effect. With this though, you can already see how it is making my character zoom in without me even getting to the camera mode. But once I click on the camera mode, and then we go into the other mode, you can see it's already zooming in. Let me get a little closer here. This is what I was talking about though with all the tweaking. As you can see, that one zooms you in, and it is a little bit different than using the environmental ones. So you really just want to find all the right angles. See, there's a good one. You can see it cuts off right down here at my feet, so that is perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and hide the UI there so you can get a better view. There we go. Ultimately though, no matter what you use, don't forget what we learned in episode 1 and make sure you stay aware of your shadows. I kind of positioned myself on purpose so you can see the effect. My character is moving in and out of the shadow. So you can see on one side, I am much darker, and on the other, my character is much more well lit, and the details of my outfit are more obvious. The view and method is nearly the same no matter which way you choose to go about this, and these tighter shots can really add that extra something to set you apart and earn you 4K, as you can see in my Your Favorite Bag submission, where I ended up using Goofy's stall for this one in the Forest of Valor to create this close-up on my backpack. It was very fitting for the week, and it could come in handy if we ever have a challenge that is centered around wings or anything like that really just requires you to, get in there and showcase something. This snap did earn me rank 1,707 and 4,000 moonstones. I really love this one. I think that the close-up really added that extra highlight to the bag and really pushed me into 4K territory. There is so much to unpack there, and this episode ended up being way longer than I had even expected, but that is because there was just so many important things to go over and share with you about the camera mode. I hope you guys learned something new, and don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe if you enjoyed this guide and you want to be among the first to see when new videos and guides are live. I had so much fun breaking down the camera mode with y'all and creating an ultimate guide for you. Congratulations if you made it all the way through, because that means you are one step closer to decoding dream snaps yourself. The next episode in the series is going to be all about the advanced posing and companion posing, so stay tuned for that one. We are going to be talking about all of the advanced animations that you could even dream of. You definitely will not want to miss it. I'll catch you tomorrow for reset day, but until then, toodles!